Hi, welcome to another video on my Raspberry Pi 2 running Ubuntu Linux and running the robot operating system, not including but with the help of Python. Last time I tried to get this motor running that worked when I put both of these wires into either plus or minus, but that is not the objective. The objective is to run it through this circuit with a transistor, a resistor and 2 LEDs, and that didn't work as intended when I put the transistor into the circuit. This LED and this LED do not work. Without the transistor obviously they do, but well, that's not the desired configuration. The other problem that I detected is that when I run the program, or to be more accurate, when I run the subscriber and the publisher, it is supposed to that this switch makes sure that this wire let's say this LED is working, lighting up, and that the input that you will see is actually changing when the switch is either pressed or released, and that was not really the case. So let me show you. First this one. This is the publisher, and this is the subscriber, and everything goes nice except that right now, because let me go here, that because this switch clearly is not pressed right now, because otherwise I should press on this. Despite that, you can see that the data is 1, which corresponds to the switch being pressed. So there are two things that I don't like, that are not correct, and I will try to solve them. Just the question is how. So let me test the switch by pressing it. You see that the LED is being lit up. But if you look in the lower terminal window, it is not very clear that the ones are indeed corresponding to the touch of the switch. What may be, by the way, is that there is a huge delay. So I need to find that out. One thing is that ROS uses a timestamp, but is the timestamp really alright? The timestamp here is not correct. So that is one thing that I have to check with Ubuntu actually. This needs to be the same. And that is a coincidence that I checked that, because I assumed it was the same. That is an oops. Not that that causes a possible delay of which I was talking. but it is absolutely necessary that time is correct. So let me start with that. So let's put the time straight, stopping the subscriber, stopping the publisher, and this is not the right way. Clock settings. This is also not the right way. Preferences, time and date. And if correct, okay, this is very good, but it says the wrong time. So I have to first unlock it. And now I have to check for the correct time zone, which of course that is not the correct one. And I am a bit surprised that it even gives this time zone, because when I installed Linux on this Raspberry Pi, does it? Oh no. I can do it like this. And that is the one. Yes. Not that I am in Amsterdam, but it is the correct zone. Keep synchronized, yes. Lock them, yes. Close. And now it should take very little time to correct the time. But as I said, this is not responsible for the delay. So what is actually causing the delay? That is a very good point. Let me just run the software again and go here. Lifting it up a bit, this one as well, and then the point is, how long does it take to for the LED to light up? And there is also another point. The image you see has a delay as well, because when I press the switch now, when the time difference between the switch LED going on and off, between me seeing it and seeing it on screen, is 1 second. So that's a delay as well. But now that I press the switch continuously, is not correct indicated in the lower terminal, because with the delay you should have seen all ones, and you don't see that. So what are the zeros caused by? That is a very good question. Well, because without this being correct, there's no chance that this will work correctly. And yes, that is a problem. Well, it will work correctly somehow, because one would indicate that the motor works, but since this is not corresponding correctly with the switch, there's an ouch. So I need to look into the software. That is most likely the case. And this is the software reading the switch. So let's take a look at it. Before I go on with searching for the timing and the difference in delay that I think there's there, I want to correct this circuit by bringing it back to the original state. So I'm taking out this resistor and put this transistor back in place. And this is not entirely correct, because this is the output of the transistor, so it should be right here between the input, and this is also not entirely correct, what I notice, and that may be a cause, because the lanes are going that and they are immediately connected. So what I need to do is, since this wire is going through the LED, or supposed to go through the LED I mean, so I need to take out this, put it right here, and now it's gone from the band, but that is not the problem for now. But what is a problem is that this LED needs to be repositioned. That is one thing. And now of course the question is in which port the this wire should be. So let's take a look here and take a look here, and output is 7. So the switch is going from 11, so then this is pin 7. So here it is. Now back to the circuit. And this should be alright. So let's see if it is alright. And let me press the switch and see what happens. Nothing. Nothing at all. While I do know that both LEDs here, both LEDs are in the correct position. So if I put this LED back again, it is clear that one LED works. Then the question is, why doesn't the other LED show up? Because they did both work. It's remarkable. it still doesn't work. I can try another transistor in the for the unlikely case that this one is not functioning. So let's do that. Alright, they're both in place. Nothing again. And weirdly enough, now nothing works. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. Once again, with the resistor connecting both LEDs, and nothing happens. Let me put a little correction to the transistor. Check again. And once again nothing happens. So this is a bit odd. Alright, so right now nothing works. So let me replace this transistor once again with this one. Put this resistor again, and now only this one works. So I am quite sure that everything is doing okay. The only thing I wonder about is the working of this LED. Alright, apart from that, if I take this one out and put it here, you can hopefully very clearly see that, although with a little bit slow image, that the motor is working, and it should be the same when you look at this. And then obviously nothing happens, and now nothing happens either. Then where does it come from? Where does it go to? It's a good question. Everything is connected to the GPIO. And it should work, given the fact that this is going on. What I can also do, and I think I should have done that a little bit earlier, that I say here, print GPIO 7 is, and then say GPIO output 7. Then I know which is which, or I should know anyway. So let's say I want to know if it is really high or not. Let's say that. Save, run. Hopefully I didn't make that is a problem. How can I be sure that it is true? How can I be sure? That's a very good question. I have to find it out again. I'm not quite sure right now, because this is the way you can say, okay, this is the way the input is being set. But I want to know really about how the output is being can be printed. Only then I do know that this line is actually, let me show you, that this line coming from this cable is actually showing the correct value to let the motor work, because that is what it is about right now. So I have to find it out. And actually the way to do this is not like reading the output pin, but rather leading the output back to an input and then reading that status. So I am altering the program to set up and I take pin 12 as GPIO in, and then I am going to here, which with a wire which I put in here where it comes from 7, and I am leading it back to this pin, which goes back to the newly created input. So with that I say okay, then a new variable status will say okay, this is will be GPIO input 12, and here I will just say okay, print the status, and here it will be the same. Status is here, and I will just print the status, and that should absolutely give me the real value of if this is indeed true or not. True will be probably true is 1, so then this will be 1, and otherwise it will be 0. So yes, let's just try that. And it says status. Why does it say status? Yes, of course, because I don't need these. And now I can. And it says, oh, that's a little bit difficult now, because now I have to read here and here, and that's not easy. So let's see, wherever I see here it says GPIO is 1, but GPIO can only be 1 when I press the switch, or should be only 1, and that is not the case. So here we already have a problem. Why is it 0, or why is it 1 without pressing the switch? Is it somewhere else? Here also 1. Let's go back and find also 1. Here I have GPIO is 0. GPIO 7 is 0. So just like this, I have a problem with the status of the output that should the motor get working. That should get the motor working. Because now with the this LED burning, I should get GPIO 1. And what do I get? GPIO 0. Except that it should be running. Now it is running. Okay, this is not nice. I have to put this here and here. Now it is printed at the same line. So let's do it again. Invalid syntax. Where? Alright. Let me get it done this. Will come later. Okay, run. Pressing the switch and I get 0. And noticing the upper window, and GPIO is 0. And now it is 1. And it is 0 again and 0 again. 1. Doesn't make any sense at all. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Why? So instead of solving problems, I find one more. And delay may be one thing, but just the seemingly random changing of this content, and I'm really talking about this part only, somehow it doesn't work the way I intend. And what I need to do, and let me get back here, this wire leading right here is or should be the actual input. This is just connection to 0. So that is input is 11. What I can of course do is this, doing exactly the same as here with status, to know what exactly is it. And I don't need this one, input is 1, because that makes no sense. Well, it kind of makes sense, but what I want to do is I is input that, so I say print GPIO 11 is I, and then I know really what the status is. No. Not sooner, not later. So, saving and running again. And then I'm very curious what happens. So I press the switch and release it. The switch is released right now. So it is rather impossible that it should be impossible that the status is 1. This should be all zeros. Which may mean that, let me go back here, that this wiring with the switch is not correct. Not pressing should be constant 0, and it isn't. Alright. That means that now that I have adapted my code a little bit, and I have changed the wiring a bit to read, to be certain to read the correct inputs and outputs, that I have a much bigger problem than I initially thought. Not a delay problem, but a value problem here, and probably therefore here as well, considering output of 7. This and this. And with that I leave it for now, for next time. I didn't solve anything, just brought more problems to light. And I hope to solve them next time. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe if you haven't done so. If you like my videos, please also consider to support my blog. You can find info on how you can support on my website. Also check my Instagram, and this is certainly going to be continued. So bye bye.